Hello and welcome to I Am Geek, episode 25. And this is October, which means this is the month of HalloGEEK. I'm Ryan. I'm here with my brother Chris and our good pal, buddy, friend of friend, Chris Catron.
Wow, what an introduction. Yes. I feel so honored now, man. Wow. Thanks. The love.
And our special guest this week, Steve. Say hi, Steve. Hi, Steve.
What the? Oh, Lord, what is going on here?
No, there's no Steve. Steve the Ghost is here with us. Well, Halloween is pretty much already begun. We're in October. For some people, it began in August, which we've already talked about. It's a little. We're running a little late this week because I went to Orlando, the city of theme parks, to go to Halloween Horror Nights, which is Universal Studios Orlando's big Halloween event.
And we all hate you for it.
Oh, this is the 27th year, or 27th year of Halloween Horror Nights there. So, now
25th episode on the 27th year.
Yeah, I've been a few times. Chris, you've been.
I've been a few. I've been a couple times with you, and then I went to the Hollywood, the Hollywood one, the Universal Hollywood one, which was really cool because they have it's on the side of a mountain basically. It is, and they have like these big levels that you have to go down these giant escalators down the side of a mountain, and you can see all of like Hollywood and everything, all the lights. It's really cool. And they take you like behind the scenes, where they have like the tours usually. And they have a giant Bates Motel, like a filmable Bates Motel that's like off in the distance. So it's built smaller, so it's not an actual house. But from the distance, it looks like a actual house size. And then they have the hotel rooms down below that, which is cool. And then they had for the movie Halloween, they had all these clotheslines hung up. And was it Jason? Is Jason in Halloween?
Nope.
No.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
It's the comedian.
That's right.
Yeah. Austin Powers is running around behind the curtains.
You're right.
Oh. Michael Myers from. Yeah. I'm kidding.
This year out in Hollywood, they have Chucky as sort of your guide on that tour, and then they have Freddy and I think all of the movie monsters running around.
The Scooby Gang.
Yeah, the Scooby. Yeah, the Scooby Gang.
Fred and the Scooby Gang.
Yeah,
jumping around.
But yeah, I've never been to that one. Catron, you haven't been to either one of them, have you?
I have not. Oh. I've only been to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which is not anywhere near what you guys have gone through.
It's quite frightening. I mean, the people in the giant like mouse outfits and everything. That's frightening.
No, it's the exact opposite.
Well, maybe next year I'll get you to the Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah,
I think you'd have fun.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll try. Mm-hmm. We'll be there.
So basically, they take over Universal Studios, and they have big sound stages there, so they can build these elaborate houses like you're walking through a movie set, which is just crazy to witness. That's why I like going. I don't necessarily watch a lot of horror movies. Like, I don't just sit down and be like, hey, I think I want to watch a horror movie. But just going there and seeing how they design all these sets and set pieces and actors and these crazy costumes, and you're just like you're walking through the movies. I just think that's really cool. So they had like 9 houses, and then they have these things called scare zones, which when you're out walking in the street areas, I guess if you want to call it that, of Universal Studios, there's different what they call scare actors roaming around trying to scare you. But I don't really get scared at those things. So I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm big, big bad man. It just doesn't scare me.
Very manly.
You go in and they can't touch you and they can't do anything. It's just like, why would you really be scared?
Like that kind of stuff where you see them, like they don't scare me or anything. What gets me is the ones that jump out and it startles me, and it just like, where'd you come from?
Yeah.
like at home. At home, Jenny will walk around the corner, and if I don't expect her, I'll jump. So,
right.
I think working the events, because I worked, a haunted house thing for a few years. You sort of know where the scares are coming from because they're pretty much all the same. But so they have what they call IPs, which are intellectual properties that they use. So that would be something like the Saw franchise, or this year they had The Shining. So that would be movies that they use, and they make houses out of those. And then they have originals, which are original concepts that they make from scratch there at the park. So they have a mix of both. So this year's big one, their White Whale, I guess they've been trying to get for years, was The Shining. And as this was Stanley Kubrick's Stanley Kubrick's
Kubert.
Shining, not Stephen King. They want to make that very clear. This is based on the movie by Stanley Kubrick, not on the novel by Stephen King. Because from what I've heard, Stephen King does not want his properties in any of the parks.
Wow. Well, he doesn't like that movie. He doesn't like the movie either. So,
but they've been trying to get his stuff, and he's just like, nope, I'm not going to have it in a park. So for people wanting an It house, that's probably never going to happen.
No.
But that was the first house I went into when I got there. And it was like walking through the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen The Shining.
Yes.
But it was pretty much shot for shot walking through the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean it took its liberties because it's a maze basically. It's a house, so it's not like everything that's in the movies in the house, or they had to take their liberties on how they get from one scene to the next. But it was cool. They had the creepy twins. They were there.
You gotta have the creepy twins.
Yeah, they were little. Looked like little girls. It was.
The Doublemint twins. Did they offer you gum?
No.
Oh.
But they had the blood elevator.
Ooh.
Like they actually had the blood elevator.
So it actually opened up and blood
yes.
rushed out of it? Oh, yes. That's awesome.
It was cool. So it was basically behind like a scrim sort of. So like when you turn around or turn a corner, you like see it, and it's like in a separate room, so you're separated by a scrim, and then you just see all the blood just start rushing out. Of course, it was water, but it just starts rushing out. And, but it was cool. It was cool how they did it.
It's not magic.
You're not using real blood.
Oh. They had the bar scene with the bartender. And it was cool because it was like you walk in and it starts just like a normal bar scene with the bartender. And then I think it even had somebody portraying Jack. Sitting at the bar. And then a black light, like all the lights go off, a black light comes on. And they're all the people in the room are now dead and coming after you. So... And they had guys, with the axes through the door, looking
here's Johnny,
sort of looking like Jack. Well, here's what I was a little disappointed. There's a company that make masks that look exactly like Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
Yeah,
like when you look at him, you think you're looking at him. So I was hoping that they were going to get these masks, and it'd be like. It would look like him because it's not like if you've never been in a haunted house, it's not like you sit in a room, you sit down like you would in a movie theater, and you really take it all in and you really look at the character. I mean, they just sort of pop in and pop out,
Right.
Yeah.
So they could do that because when he pops his head in and stuff, but instead they just did this like, kind cowl, maybe if you want to call it that, just sort of like a forehead and up mask. That sort of looked like Jack Nicholson's forehead, but it sort of made the actors look more like Cro-Magnon Man or something popping through. So it made it look a little weird. They should have used the mask.
Awesome. Like a helmet, like a bike helmet.
It reminded me of some of them when they popped their head through. It reminded me of those was it Geico commercials where they had the caveman?
The ice,
yeah,
caveman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I did walk. This is the funny part. So I'm standing in line. I went to The Shining a few times because it was really good. And I was standing in line. I think I was actually editing a photo on my phone, and I heard some people talking behind me, and I'm like, those voices sound really familiar, like right behind me. So I was about to walk in, and I turn around, and it's the head of creative of Universal that I've met like once before. I think he's head or something like that. He's in charge of Halloween Horror Nights and everything. With Cody Rhodes, Katrin, you may know who that is, and Zack Ryder, two professional wrestlers, standing right behind me, and I'm like, oh, I was like, caught him off guard. I was like, hey, Cody, and he was just like, hey, man. And I was like, I was like, big fan of your work. Like, he like started to look like, oh yeah, I know you, and I'm like, no, you don't know me.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. But I was like,
we went to high school together.
I was like, big fan of your work, Zach. And then I was like, I'm a really big fan of your work, Mike Aiello, who's the creative guy. He laughed and gave me a pat on the back. And then, so basically I walked through the house with them because, they send you in groups. So that was cool. So I had to walk through the house with them. But here, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what all was there. And then I'll give you my order of ones I like the most to the least. How about that?
That sounds good.
And then you guys can ask me questions about any of them. So, of course, we had The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Saw, The Games of Jigsaw. Then we had American Horror Story Volume 2, which used 3 of the seasons. Roanoke, Coven, and Asylum, I think. Okay. I've only seen Roanoke. So
I haven't seen any of them. So.
Yeah. Roanoke is pretty good, but the other ones just look weird to me. Then they had the Horrors of Blumhouse. They're the creators of... So it had like multiple things in this house. Creators of Insidious, Sinister, and The Purge. So the house was like divided up. You go into one part, and it was like Insidious, and then Sinister, and then The Purge.
It's like the Avengers of horror movies.
Yeah. And then they had Ash vs. Evil Dead, based on the TV show.
Yes.
And they had some originals. One called Dead Waters, which was like going through sort of like a New Orleans riverboat with like all this voodoo stuff going on, which is pretty cool.
The originals or some original things?
These are like originals that they make up there. Like not the TV show.
Vampire Diaries originals.
I know, right? The originals are in New Orleans, so I was like,
that would be scary. I mean, it's so much like teen angst. I don't know if I love her or not. She's part wolf. I don't know.
But Dead Waters was cool because when you walked in the facade of you walk into this soundstage, and the facade of the house was this big, huge riverboat. I mean, it was like the size of a riverboat, and it was sort of turned almost on its side, like it was tilted, like towards you, and then you had this swamp below you with like gators in it.
Oh, that's right.
And then you had these guys in like ghillie suits, if you know what that is, that would like, you could hear them in the trees, and they'd like say stuff. This is before you got into the house. And then when you walked into the house, the floor was slanted. So you were like walking like, like you were seasick or something. And then there was all these like people popping out at you and voodoo stuff going on. And so it's pretty cool. Then they had The Fallen, which was another one of their original ideas, which was basically the simple. Let's see, how do they describe it? You're about to be caught in the crossfire of the eternal war of light versus dark, and no one will be saved. Ooh. So it's basically like angels versus demons, but the demons were winning and the angels were trying to get their weapons back or something. They described like the demons had stolen all the weapons. I don't know.
It's like I, Frankenstein. How about that?
Yeah.
It sounds like Destiny 2, actually, because you have the Fallen.
Oh, sure.
And then in Destiny 2, they lost all their weapons and guns because all the bad guys took them, and so they're trying to get them back.
It's Destiny 2. They couldn't get the name. They couldn't get the name. They're like, yeah, it's just light and dark.
That's right, and that's what they call them. They call them it's yes, the light.
They just stole them. But that house was sort of cool. They had people on like bungee cord things that would like fly out at you like demons, and then there were people like flying over top of you. So that was sort of cool.
Peter Pan.
Yeah, Peter Pan. Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
And then they had one original called Scarecrow the Reaping. At a long abandoned Depression era farm, vengeance takes root, and the only harvest that will be reaped is you.
The only harvest that will be reaped are the puns.
So that was like scarecrows in this old like barn. It was cool. It had like one room had all these like crows above you, like in a barn, and you'd feel something hit your head, and it was like the birds were pooping on you. It was pretty funny.
That's good.
And then they had one called The Hive, which is their last original house, which is the crumbling house on 19 Hemingway Lane. Harbors a nest of bloodthirsty vampires. If you awaken them, you will face a savage, bestial hunger.
Oh. So they didn't get awakened, right? You just kind of walked through quietly.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Like be quiet.
All right, don't make them.
So do you want my best to worst, or do you want the worst to the best?
Probably worst to best, but real quick, so I know going to these things, because we've been before and then I've gone, did you have like a fast pass type thing to get through them? Because I mean, it sounds like you went to all of them. The lines are
let's
huge.
say yes for legal reasons.
Okay.
Legal reasons. Jeez.
I'm just wondering.
Well, I don't know. We'll say yes.
Breaking the law.
I had a pass.
A pass to help you get through all of them.
Yeah. But it was the nights that I went was really it wasn't that crowded. So like the lines were like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. The most, like the longest the line got that night was 45 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, like some nights you go and it's like 70 minutes, 120 minutes. But I went on a Wednesday and a Thursday, so it was like really less crowded. And it had rained one of those nights, so it wasn't that crowded.
That's good.
So a lot of them was like walk on. Yeah.
Nice.
So I went through, some of them I only went through once. I only went through Saw once. I only went through Blumhouse once. And then some of them I went through more. But, okay, so so yes, I got through them all, but even if I didn't have a pass, I could have probably went through all of them.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Let's do worst to best.
Worst to best. All right. So this one may surprise people. I'm sure everybody that listens has gone to the event.
No. Never. No, I don't think so.
No, probably not. My least favorite, which surprised me, I thought it would be one of my favorite ones because I like vampires and it was sort of like that 80s or what I was led to believe was going to be like 80s movie vampire sort of scene.
Mm-hmm. Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. That's what I was going to think. Or Fright Night.
My least favorite was The Hive, and usually all the originals are my favorites, but this one, I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to do Lost Boys like take or something, but to me it failed. It just failed. The house, like, it was like they were trying to go over the top as much as they could. Just for the shock factor. It wasn't like scary. It was just like, let's try to shock people. So basically the house was like, and it was weird. It was like, I couldn't figure out, like, do the vampires dig up from the ground? Because they had like piles of dirt like everywhere through the house. So it was like you're in somebody's house, but there were like piles of dirt that looked like really piles of poop. Just everywhere, like giant piles of poop. And then they had like children's toys thrown everywhere. They had a nursery that had like dead babies in a crib. And then they had like all these, shoes piled up. Where it was just
because they needed a nursery to keep their food.
No, it was like they took over somebody's house and they basically killed everybody in the house and then brought in others to kill. It was just the vampires looked sort of dumb. They were just like bald, pale looking things, and it wasn't scary. It was just like, we're just going to try to shock you with all this, we killed babies and children and stuff. And I was just like, I walked through it and I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing that one again. That was annoying and pretty much uncalled for. I didn't like it. Didn't care for it. Other people probably liked it, but to me, I was like, no, once is enough. And
the people that like dead babies liked it.
I guess. Which, it was just like, why have that in there? It was.
That's weird. Okay.
I didn't like that. All right, so that was my least favorite. Then after that would probably be the Blumhouse, because I haven't seen any of those movies. I think I've seen The Purge, like the first one. I haven't seen Sinister. I haven't seen Insidious. So I didn't really understand what was going on.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people like those. I haven't seen them, but yeah, they're apparently pretty popular.
And I am willing to bet that it was a last-minute house. It felt like something that was thrown together the last minute.
Well, the fact they had like so many of them in one house, it doesn't seem like it would be very cohesive together. It wasn't. Okay, done with this section, move to another one.
Especially if you didn't see the movies. Like, they had like things put up that said, "Oh, you're entering the Purge now," but it was just like, okay. Like, you had these characters popping out at you, and you're just sort of like, are you supposed to be scary? I don't know, because I've never seen the movie. So that was my 8th one. My 7th one was Saw. I only went through Saw once. I'm just not big into the torture stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the Saw movies, and like plot wise, they're really not that bad. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it does get into that kind of like torture porn or whatever they call it. Yeah. So we watched them on like the Sci-Fi Channel or something when they came on TV. So a lot of like really bad stuff like that was cut out. So it actually, I think it made it a better movie.
So how long was the movie? Like 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, it was just like 10 minutes. Yeah, it was just like 10 minutes. It's like, oh, I'm gonna die, and like credits.
So Saw was okay. They had it in the Shrek, the Shrek ride they have there or show.
Oh yeah.
They had it in that one of those theaters. So I guess they cleared out all the seats, and so it was weird. You're like, it didn't have like a really much of a facade. You walk through this brightly lit door, and you're just like, oh, I guess we're in the house now. And then it was just like, oh, are you going to survive the night? And it just had the different. Basically, you walk from room to room to watch different torture happening. So I was just sort of like, okay.
I think I guess they're doing it because they're doing another Saw movie this year. Yeah. Jigsaw. It's not called Saw, it's just Jigsaw.
Yeah. So that was my 7th one. 6 was American Horror Story Volume 2. And the only reason that made it to 6 is because I had seen Roanoke. And that part of the maze I liked. The rest of the parts I was just like, again, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. A weird, creepy Santa Claus jumped out at one point, and I was just like,
"Oh, what the?"
Okay, right.
This is just Christmas in my house. I don't understand.
Yeah. So the Roanoke part of it was pretty cool. Kind because I've always been the reason I watched the Roanoke American Horror Story because I've always been interested in that actual history story.
Yeah.
Of the colony of Roanoke that disappeared mysteriously. So this was their take on it. 5 would be The Fallen. Again, it was okay. It was okay. The first time I walked through it, I missed every single scare. Like it all happened before I got to it. So I was just like, well, I guess there's something going on in this house. I'm not sure. The second time I walked through it, it was a little better, but still it was like, it was okay. If you didn't know what the story was supposed to be, you wouldn't know what the story was. It was just like, okay, something weird's going on. 4 would be Dead Waters. That one was really cool. I like that one a lot.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
3 was The Shining.
Did they have like at the end? Did they have like a frozen Jack?
Yes. Right before right. So basically, you start in the maze and you end in the maze, like the shrubs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The shrubbery.
The shrubbery.
Yeah, and there's like when you walk in, there's the entrance to the shrub maze, and there's like snow falling on you, cool. And it's like cold in there, and then you go into the Overlook Hotel, nice. And then you end back in the shrub maze or whatever it's called, with him stalking you, and he pops out and he's saying, "What's the little boy's name?"
Oh, Danny.
Yeah, he's like, "Danny boy, where are you?" So, and then at the very end, he's frozen in the snow. So,
watching a TV like Homer Simpson.
Yeah. So my top three are sort of like they could all change. You know what I mean?
Almost a tie.
Yeah, almost a tie. Like I'm sure I could walk through and one could be 2 or 2 could be, they're all good. So The Shining was 3. Number 2 was Ash versus the Evil Dead because I am a sucker for comedy houses and it was hilarious. They did all the jokes.
Awesome.
They had actors that looked like him.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, they looked pretty much exactly like him.
It was him.
Yeah, it would be cool. But they did. I hadn't seen all of season 1, but I'm pretty sure they did. They just did season 1 of the TV show.
Oh, okay.
You've seen it, haven't you? How does it end? Or spoiler alert, but does it end with him in like Tallahassee or somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, because that's how the house ends.
Because that's like his dream place to go. That's like his Shangri-La. He thinks like if you go live in Tallahassee, it's like living in heaven. So it's where he wants to go. He wants to go to Tallahassee, and like throughout the whole thing, he's like, I just want to go to Tallahassee. Just want to be done with whatever. And at the end, spoiler if you care. I don't know if you care or not.
That's okay.
But yeah, at the end, spoiler, like everything is pretty much about to like the end of the world's coming or whatever, and he makes a deal with the villain to get him and his friends out of this, not have to deal anything with it more, to go live in Tallahassee, and that's how it ends. and the apocalypse starts happening behind them as they're driving off. Go to Tallahassee.
Nice. But yeah, that's how, right before that scene, the end scene, you walk out and there's a fence, and then up pops the little puppet guy, Ashy Slashy or whatever.
Ashy Slashy. That's in the second season.
Okay, so I think they just do that in it. But it was funny. Like I'd seen part of the season and they had all the jokes and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
Because in the second season, because they kind of delve into like the first movies a bit, and he goes back to his hometown. And everyone there thinks that he murdered his sister and his friends, and they all call him Ashy Slashy. and there's like even like a little like rhyme like in like Freddy Krueger movies like, about him killing his friends, and so people always think that at his hometown. It's pretty fun.
But I went through that one like it was always like a low wait, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know why, but because it was sort of in the back of the park, so it was harder to get to. But I went through that one like a bunch because it just made me laugh every time. I was just like cracking up, and he would like, since there was low weight, there wasn't like a conga line, so you could sort of like take it slow, and he would like point you out and like give you the thumbs up and stuff and talk to you and stuff as you walk through. So it was pretty funny. I liked it. But that's my number one. Was probably the Scarecrow. Scarecrow the Reaping. It was a cool house. It was. It was like you're walking through this old barn, and there was this like giant scarecrows because all the people were like tall people. Like they purposely made all the actors in there tall people. And then right towards the end, this huge. I mean, I guess you could call it a puppet, but it was I don't know if it was a person on stilts with a big head thing, scarecrow head, like pops up and it's like right over top of you, screaming at you and stuff. And it the smell in there was like the smell of a barn / the smell of like old Halloween masks.
Oh.
So it gave sort of that nostalgia, sort of like Halloween feel. But it was just, it was on par. Like they hit all their points. Like you didn't feel like there was dead zones. There was people popping out or scarecrows popping out from everywhere. It was cool. And they had that bird scene where a bird pooping on you. And then they had this like strobe light scene where you're going through, and it looks like you're going through the woods, sort of. You can't really tell where the scarecrows are coming from. So that was cool. But that was my take. And then they also have scare zones. I'll go through those real fast. They had the Purge scare zone, which I thought was sort of an overkill because you had the Purge in the house, and then they had the New York zone or New York streets there was the Purge. They had one. I don't know if you guys seen this movie. Have you seen Trick or Treat?
Oh yeah, actually we watched it. Is that the one with Anna Paquin?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we watched it last year. Yeah.
They had a Trick or Treat scare zone, and it was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like, and it was like in the little over by Mel's Diner, that little pathway that's got all the trees.
Okay, yeah.
So they had like all these pumpkins lit up in the trees, and then they had like doors like for houses lining the street. So sort of like you're walking down a residential street.
Yeah.
And so they had like all the characters from Trick or Treat going around, and they had the kid sitting on the porch. I think he was supposed to be puking, like because he ate razor blades or something. Remember that part of the movie?
Yeah.
And they had like the teacher there saying you should have checked your candy or something like that. And then they had Sam. I guess that's the main little creature's name, running around. It was fun. It was a beautiful, like, just visually, it was really cool. Then they had one called Invasion, which was like a 1955 like alien crash landing.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw pictures of that you took.
Yeah, it was so
up
cool.
on our Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, you can find pictures of all this stuff on Twitter at I Am Geek Show. But yeah, it was cool. Like they had the crash landing, big huge UFO, aliens all running around, and they like interacted with you. So it wasn't like they were like standing behind stuff and jumping out at you. They like interact, like they kept, every time I walked through, one of them would stop me and like rub his head because the aliens were bald, and then point to my head. And be like, and he would like point to us like, oh, we're the same, like, and then he would hold up his hand, like he'd tell me to hold up my hand, and he would hold up his hand, but his finger was his pinky finger was longer than the rest of his fingers, so he would just shake his head, no, like you're not one of us. So I caught on that first time. I was like, I was like, if they do it again, I know what I'm going to say. So I'd walk back through there again, and they stopped me again, did the ball head thing, and they hold up my hand. And they pointed at my finger, and that it wasn't the same. And I said, "Oh, it was cut off during the war." And then they're like, "Hold up your other hand," and it's like, "Oh, it was cut off too." It was for the fight for our people. And they just sort of nodded and like that and stuff.
Nice.
That's awesome.
But so they had like different classes of aliens. So you had like the overlord, sort of the leader,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had sort of his minions, and then you had these brutes that were like bigger, and then they had like military people that were like roaming around that I guess had been captured and implanted with like these glowing orbs in their heads. So I guess they were being controlled by the aliens. So that was a really cool zone.
Cool.
Then they had one called Festival of the Deadliest, which I think this was supposed to be the theme. They usually have an icon, and I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be like their icon because they had this big guy named Bones that was like on these stilts. But then I guess they scrapped that part of it. It was just weird. It was like weird ladies swinging on poles.
You sure you were still at Universal when that happened?
Yeah, I mean, there's some places in Orlando.
Yeah, you shouldn't be going there.
No,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, they were dressed, but and then they had like people on stilts,
At first.
stilts walking around looking like skeletons.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
leaving your wife and kids at home, going to Orlando. Yeah, I'm just going to Universal Studios.
So I walked through there maybe once. The guy on stilts is dressed like he looked like Skeletor basically. He looked pretty cool, but the rest of it was just like, cool. This is dumb.
I remember that one time we went and they had the guy from Legend, the demon from Legend.
Yeah. Wow.
Walking around, and then he looked awesome. Like he looked straight out of the movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
we got a picture of the Bones guy. That was his name on our Twitter. He's cool looking, but the rest of it was just like, that's weird. And then they had one called Altars of Horror, which, in other words, we didn't know what else to do with this one, so we took characters from all the other houses and put them in the street. So it's basically like characters from each of the house just standing in the street for picture ops, basically. It was lame. I mean, I'm sorry, but they could have done something better there. They went about it like, oh, you want to see these characters in the street, and everybody's like, no. So they had like 2 or 3 purge people, but they had a purge scare zone. They had purge in the house, and then they had purge characters in the Altars of Horror. Basically, they didn't know what else to do. That's what I took from it. But
they bought way too many purge outfits and had to use them.
Yes. They did have the twins from The Shining in that zone, so that was sort of cool. Just see them standing there, because all they did was stand there and hold hands walking up and down the street. So it was so creepy. And then they had 2 shows. They had a dance show that was like the Academy of Villains. I think they were on one of those talent shows on TV at one time. They did a dance show.
Dance or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had Bill and Ted, which is their comedy show, but this was their last year.
Oh.
For Bill and Ted, which made it emotional for a lot of people because it's been there like 26 years. And nobody's saying why they decided to end it, but they just said that they've decided to end it. So I hope they bring something back that's comedy because I think it needs that sort of a break. So I usually don't. I've been to the show before. I think we've been to the show.
We've gone a couple times,
and it was sort of got out of hand.
Yeah, like the first time we went, it was pretty funny, and then as it went along, it started to get more kind of racy and very like just more and more scantily clad women kept showing up at the and just bad puns and just basically an excuse for the guys to go and watch women dance around. Yeah. I think it's what it started to become.
So I decided to go see it since it was the last year, and they toned it back some because I think they were trying to do a tribute show for the ending of it. So it was it had its moments.
Cool.
But yeah, so that was the night, and then also they had rides open. They had Men in Black. I rode that. They had like Harry Potter and stuff open, but I didn't get to ride that. I did go into Diagon Alley and walked around for a while.
Nice.
So that was fun. Got me some ice cream.
Get some butterbeer?
No, I didn't. I tried a different kind because I've had the butterbeer ice cream before. So I tried. It was like chocolate raspberry sundae or something.
That sounds very Harry Potterish.
Oh, it was good. I don't know.
Like, I don't care. It was good.
I wanted to eat there for dinner, but they didn't have it open to eat. The restaurant in there.
The, the Three Broomsticks, or what
It's
is
one
it?
of them. I forget which one's in Diagon Alley.
Boar's Head? Is that a boar's head? I don't. Or is that just the meat?
Dilly sliced boar's head.
Dilly sliced boar's head. I don't know. There's some place called like that.
I think there is.
So instead for dinner, I had chicken tacos from Bumblebee's Tacos in Simpsons Land or whatever.
Hey, caramba!
Yeah. So it was a fun event. I feel like our listeners are probably like, okay, get over it. But it was fun. I recommend it if you're in the Orlando area during Halloween time. It runs now and through at least in the month. But it's fun. I encourage you to go with friends because it's more fun when you go with other people. I went alone, so it's sort of just like, walking around.
Who's that weirdo?
Yeah, who's that weirdo?
What a freak.
Who's that creeper? But also while I was there, I went to Animal Kingdom and I went to Epcot. So I got to do Avatar again. Flight of Passage was just as good. It was amazing.
It was good. Nice. You ate more of their like fanciful desserts.
Yeah, the dessert was good. I ate their food again, and it wasn't as good as the first time I ate it for some reason. I don't know. I can't remember if I got something different or. It was still good. It just wasn't. I didn't feel like it was as good as the first time. The dessert was still as good. The dessert was good.
Well, you made enemies off of the hosts of BLT.
Yeah.
Because you.
Oh, Tyler,
Because you posted a picture of dessert, so now you're not their friend. They hate you.
He's still my friend, or internet friends, or whatever you want to call that. But Tyler, we need to go together sometime. All of us just need to go down there.
Oh.
Tyler's a good guy. So I did Avatar, did the boat ride and Flight of Passage, rode Everest while I was there. Then it started pouring the rain and I left. And then I got sick. Yay! Got a cold.
Yay!
So I didn't get to go to Magic Kingdom because I was so sick. I was supposed to meet somebody there, a friend there. I had to cancel on him because I had to go back to bed. And then, but I did go to Epcot for dinner because it was the Food and Wine Festival.
Oh, there you go.
So I wanted to go to Canada and get the beer cheese soup. And
that is good stuff.
The filet mignon, and they had pretzel bread. So I got that, and then I got hot chocolate pudding from Ireland, which was really good.
Oh, faith and Bigora.
But it was so it wasn't super crowded either. But I heard the most weird conversations walking through Epcot that I've never heard before. Walking through Epcot, I don't know what was in. They must have been drinking a lot of the wine at the Food and Wine,
especially in Ireland.
Yeah, festival. So I'm walking in, and somebody's walking out, and this lady goes, "That place is just full of pedophiles," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Is she talking about Epcot or what? No, what is she talking about?" It's like,
Germany section. The Germany section.
Oh wow! No,
no, I kid.
But then I'm walking. So then I walked through the gates and walking past Spaceship Earth, which is the big ball for those who don't know. And some man goes, "You seen one hoochie coochie? You've seen them all."
Oh my!
And I'm like, "Well, I guess I found the pedophiles." I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just like,
"What are you talking about, you back there?"
I was like, "I just saw your friend," so I don't know what was going on with that conversation either. And then as I sat down, this one wasn't as bad, but it was just more like, "Are you dumb?" I sat down in Canada to just at a table there to eat because there wasn't, it's sort of like, lack of a better term, food trucks everywhere. They're not trucks, but they're like little.
Yeah, little stands.
Little stands with all their food. There's not places to really sit.
Yeah.
So I found a table outside of the Canadian Pavilion. I was sitting there in this group of, they were either seniors in high school or college age.
Mm-hmm.
And this one girl goes, I don't know Canada's history. Do they even have a history? And I'm
No.
like, what?
It
She was like
just
dead
kinda popped
serious.
out
Like,
nowhere.
what's Canada's history? They don't even have one, do they? I was like, I wanted to say there's a lovely 360 movie down here that will tell you all
Right.
about Canada's history. Let's go down there and check it out. Martin Short will guide you through it. I don't know. It was just a night of Epcot full of weird people. But I went in the old Wonders of Life building. Do you remember that? They had like
Oh, I
Body
remember that.
Wars, and it had like
Oh, okay, yeah. I never
it's-
really cared to go in there because it was like all healthy food options. And I was like, there's nothing I want to eat here.
Well, what's it? They had like rides in there. They had the Body Wars ride.
They had some
They had
rides.
the
Yeah,
the show with the food show. I
yeah,
forget.
dancing food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I went. That was like where the hub for the Food and Wine Festival. So I went in there, and it was like you were walking back in time because it was like
Huh.
totally late '80s, early '90s, or whenever that was. Like even you walk in the bathroom, and it's just like totally untouched. You know, it was just like weird. It was sort of creepy, but it was cool to see the inside of that. And that's next door to Universe of Energy, which they just closed down. So that was all walled up.
Oh, you didn't get to see Ellen.
No.
Oh.
But so that was sort of my trip. I was supposed to eat Tonga toast at Kona Cafe at Polynesian, but I watched somebody else eat it while I was sick.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of weird.
But yeah, so that's our first one. That's just, I wanted to give you an overview of a review of my trip, but we're going to do a lot more Halloween stuff throughout October, stories and stuff. But I think, Chris, you posed the question earlier this week saying, what is our favorite Halloween candy?
Yeah.
We could touch on that. So you've had a long time to think about it, I guess.
I've had quite a bit.
Let's do what's your favorite, and then maybe what's your least favorite.
There we go. I can do that.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Well, my favorite is probably always going to be the Kit Kats.
Oh, that's mine too.
But it's not. I mean, the Kit Kats, the regular Kit Kats are great, but then they also have the Halloween Kit Kats, which are orange, which it's basically like white chocolate with like orange food coloring, and those are so good. Those are good. I like those. Least favorite is probably anything that's just. I mean, like I'll say candy corn, but it's anything like that where it's just. I mean, it's just basically like sugar that's just like mound into a shape. There's just not much. Yeah, sugar shapes, just like that, like the sweet tarts and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of those. Whenever we'd get candy going trick or treating, I'd always save those for last because I did all the stuff I wanted, and then I have a bunch of that candy. I was like, I don't want to eat any of this, but I feel like I have to because it's candy.
It's candy.
I must eat the sugar.
Let's eat sugar. It's free candy.
Yeah. That's right. You got to eat it.
Yeah.
Katrin?
And do you remember?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you remember like they had these little things? They're like wax, like shaped like little like soda bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had like the
You
just
bite them off,
basically
and then you would suck the stuff out of them.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care for those either, but but they were weird because it was weird. It was like, why can't they make it out of something that's edible?
Because those are like old. Those are like old timey candy. If you want to,
Yeah,
we used to get them at the Mass General store. Remember that place? They had all the old candies, and we would get those little wax bottles. You're not supposed to eat the wax. You're just supposed to drink the stuff inside of them.
Oh no!
Oh, that's
I think I ate the wax.
Because
you know,
yum 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 yum.
because they had the wax lips.
Yeah.
And of course the bottles, and I think I remember eating the wax. I don't. No, but I don't think anybody ever said don't eat the wax. But
They're probably like, let's see if he'll eat the wax. And they're just sitting there laughing at you.
yeah.
My tummy hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think you're supposed to eat the wax.
No, I don't think you're supposed to.
I think, which
probably why it was always weird for me. It was just like, well,
let's see,
it's something that you would eat afterward.
No, it's just a container. It's just old timey. That's what they had. They had tons of wax just laying around.
That's all they had, wax.
Yep. We're like, what should we do with this wax? We should put weird, strange liquids in them.
Made out of whale blubber.
That's funny.
But yeah, Katrin, you what was yours?
Yeah, so that's all right. So yeah, I was just reading. It says once the top of the small bottle, blah, 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 you can drink the fruit flavored syrup inside. Afterward, the wax can be chewed like gum. The wax bottle is food grade and non-toxic, although it is not meant to be eaten. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like Play-Doh.
I did like those. I like the candy lips and I guess with the lips, you just wore them. You put them on your mouth and you had the lips, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I guess I do remember maybe chewing them and just like, okay, I gotta get this out. Maybe that's what it was. But so my favorite was also the Kit Kat. But I'll since you had that one, I'll say the fun size. I'll kind of go generic and say the fun size candies. With and at the same time, it's like I hate them too because it's like, I just want more. Give me more.
I've never understood why they call them fun size.
It's not that fun.
They're not fun.
But it's still, it's like you can just pop them in and stuff.
That was about the only time of year I'd eat certain ones like that because like Milky Way and like Three Musketeers and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily go to like a store and get those. That's about the time of year I'd have them. And Butterfinger, I never have Butterfinger until Halloween.
I love Butterfingers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my least favorite, one of my least favorite, I guess, is I don't eat peanut butter. So
don't say it. Don't you dare say it.
Oh no.
It's those the black and the orange.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Candies that are
black and orange candies
that are like now they probably don't do these anymore because it just looks so gross.
Oh, they probably still do them. Yeah, they're peanut butter.
Yeah,
globs of peanut butter.
Oh, those.
Yeah. I was like, nope, not gonna eat those.
I was like, I don't want that. I want a Reese's Pieces.
Right. Yeah, and then of course not the Reese's cups. I don't eat those, but everybody else liked them, so I could always trade them out or whatever. So it was fine. But yeah, that's mine.
Well, my favorite is the Reese's peanut butter.
There you go.
Pumpkins.
Yeah. Somebody's got to eat them, right?
For some reason, the pumpkins are better than the cups.
Yeah, somebody else said that. Yeah, I heard that too.
I had some the other day. I was like, oh gosh, it's so good. So
same with their Easter eggs. Their Easter eggs. They did the Easter egg ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are really good too.
So good. Nice. But they never look like the pumpkins. When you open them, they're just like these globs.
That reminds me. I think my other favorite are of course, this is my anytime candy. If you want to get me candy that I love is Mounds and Almond Joy.
Listeners, if you want to give
if you want to send me candy, just send it to 4123.
Oh, I love Mounds and Almond Joy. Sometimes you feel like a nut.
And they have those in the egg shape too. That's why I say that. Of course, it's usually the Cadbury. I think not Cadbury. What's the company? Not Cadbury. Shoot, the what are those candies at Walgreens? The Russell Stovers, and they make different shapes, and they're like the Mounds a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like those because I'm not really a big nut person, and I really don't like coconut.
Oh man.
So I don't really care for those.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, Ryan, I interjected there. What is your least favorite?
Least favorite? Probably Twizzlers. I hate them.
Yeah,
I can't stand them. I think they're gross.
Jenny likes them.
Jennifer loves them.
Yeah, I don't
like them.
I can't stand them.
Very waxy to me. It's like you're eating those soda.
That's why I like them.
And I don't like when people give like stuff that's not candy.
Have you seen the trick where you have like a bowl and you put M&M's, Skittles, and Reese's Pieces all in the bowl? It's like a great Halloween treat, prank, I think people are so mad, Oh man!
Mix in some Benadryl or something.
Wow!
No, don't do that. That's like something. That's something that somebody that goes to Epcot would do.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Epcotians.
So yeah, there's all kind. There's of course there's the child's play bag of candy that has all the random stuff that they sweep up off the candy room floor and put in a bag.
Good and plenty.
Couldn't believe.
Yeah. Ugh,
Those little things look like pills. I was like, how does that ever pass? You know.
Did you ever have, when you went trick or treating, was that one house that gave out like the giant candy bars or like the other size?
But I've got a coworker that does that at his house. I'm like, why do you do that? It's so expensive. He just wants to give, I guess, but it's like, come on, man.
Growing up, we had neighbors. I mean, it was our neighbors, and they knew us, and they always had like a giant sized candy bar just for us.
Yep, just for us.
That was nice. I liked that. That was asked like what our favorite candies to our parents would be, and they would get us the full size candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, now I want to go trick or treating. I think I should take my son trick or treating, even though he's like 2.
The best thing.
Hey, I've seen
eat all his candy.
I've seen people with baby carriages going around, and you know the parents are eating that candy.
Oh yeah,
the kid is not getting that.
No.
Yeah, so I think you're fine.
we did the trunk or treat thing last year, with the local church, and we actually said we're not going to probably do that this year because it's kind of boring. It's like you just go around and like, here's some candy, and it's really good candy. Some of it is, some of it's like these little hot dogs, and it's like the plasticky stuff you were talking about. You're like, what is this? It's a hamburger. What? But the rest of it, like this, they had some really good stuff, like these little mini chocolate chip cookies in a bag, or Cheez-Its, and then they'd have the Snickers and all that, the fun size stuff. But and you had tons of stuff, but it was like, well, that wasn't very fun because we just walked around in a circle around all these cars, and then. The other thing I think was kind of fun is going to the zoo and getting all the candies at the candy stations. That was it was the same kind of idea, but it was still kind of fun, I guess. But
yeah, that's like they do it. Mickey's Not So Scary. That was always
right.
That was fun when we went.
Yeah, they had really good candy. Yeah,
walking around all the treat stations.
But it's also really fun to go to people's houses, and it's good for your kids to go up to the house and knock on the door and learn to be like.
Yeah.
Like able to talk to people, because a lot of kids are shy and be like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Make sure there's no razor blades in there.
Good experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, also, by the way, the trip that I went on, I did vlog.
Ooh, well, yeah. Some of my best friends are vloggers.
Yeah, a couple of vlogs there. So you can check those out on our YouTube page, which I think if you go to YouTube and type in I Am Geek Show, it'll pop up.
There you go.
So these are our I Am Geek vlogs. So you can make fun of me or whatever. I don't care. But I did Animal Kingdom vlog, and I did a Halloween Horror Nights vlog, and so you can see sort of the sights. But I can't believe it. We're about at an hour. Today they did drop the new Justice League trailer.
Yes, they did.
I watched it.
Mm-hmm. So did I. It was a watch.
It was a watch.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really much different than the past trailers.
Yeah,
like they had a little bit with Superman, kind of hinting that he was. I mean, he's coming back. But
what?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad, but I mean, it wasn't anything like different. They kind of showed the villain fighting a bit, like the big bad guy Steppenwolf. He's kind of leading Darkseid's army. But yeah, nothing anything mind blowing or anything necessarily.
A lot more smiles and laughs.
Yes,
you could tell. You could tell they're trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Getting into that rebirth.
Yeah. Oh, I also saw that they've canceled Bride of Frankenstein.
No.
The movie that they're going to do? Oh.
So it sounds like the whatever they're calling that is
the
not
dark universe.
The dark
they
universe
can't get that
is
going.
Not going to happen.
They just can't get that going. They've tried.
Yeah. Well, they've made some poor decisions. The ways they've tried.
Yeah.
But so for the rest of the month, we're going to be. I've got some I got some fun Halloween stories to tell. We'll talk about Halloweens of our past growing up. We'll talk about our favorite Halloween movies. We'll maybe review or go over some Halloween movies that we've loved over the years.
Yeah, in my house we're already watching a Halloween movie almost every night.
There you go.
Oh.
We've all pretty much started decorating our houses, if not completed. Chris bought like a truckload of pumpkins today.
We did. We bought every pumpkin ever and it's for next year. It's not for this year. We're building.
And they're not real pumpkins, folks.
No, they're not real pumpkins. Yeah, they're not real pumpkins. We wanted them to rot for a year and then put them out.
The smell is what you're going for.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. We're building a giant arch to go over our entryway at the house of pumpkins that we're going to light up.
You should put some out this year. You could have like a pumpkin patch in your front yard.
We might put some out. Well, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, but I mean
that'd be a perfect place to store them, just in your front yard.
All year long.
Yeah.
I think that'll work.
Come to the patch, children. It's July. Come to the patch.
Well, that's the thing. It's going to be July, and we're going to be like carving out these like fake pumpkins for like October, probably. So it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Well, I hope you guys had fun listening to this episode of Vine Geek, because it's a little different. This is sort of like a review episode of a trip review. But again, if you're down in Orlando, check out Halloween Horror Nights. What's your favorite candy? Let us know. If you got any stories, let us know. What's your favorite Halloween movie? Tweet us. Like all the kids are doing. Anyways, so unless you guys got something else,
no,
I think that's a wrap for episode 25. This has been I Am Geek, and we will see you next time. Bye. Yep.